It's your energy healer, Zach Lewis. Today we're going to do an energy healing on love. So I wanted to jump on and do an energy healing on love today because I know a lot of people have love on their mind. For me, love has been one of those foundational bedrocks from which the rest of my life springs. Like when my relationship is good, I feel good, and then I can go out and do everything else. And when that's not going well, it kind of ruins everything else. So I know how important that is. I know how special that is. And I wanted to jump on here because I wanted to help increase the amount of love that you have in your life. So whether that means you're single and you are looking to attract the right partner, or it means you're already in a relationship and you feel like there could be more intimacy, deeper connection, those kinds of things. So if you're feeling any of that, you're in the right spot. So I've helped a lot of people with stuff like this, whether they wanted to attract new partners that are really exciting to them, that they feel like have been out of their league. I've also helped people who have spent either years or decades not in a long-term relationship, and then they do some vibrational editing with me, and then they end up in those committed relationships. Some of my clients have even gotten married, which has been pretty cool. But today what we're gonna do, in case you've never done a pick a healing before, I'm gonna pop up a bunch of numbers on the screen, let your intuition guide you to whichever number you feel like is the right one for you. And then I'm gonna do an energy healing based on whatever I sense as being the main patterns for your group. If you are curious about how any of this stuff works, I have a podcast that explains all about that and how I came into this and everything. But on these videos, I just want to focus on actually helping you, actually shifting the thing, and then, moving you forward. So I will be scanning where your blocks came from. I'll tell you a little bit about them. I'll tell you why you picked them up, and then I'll talk about the new pattern that we're going to switch out and install. And then as you reprogram yourself, as you edit your vibrational code, you'll notice that things that have been stuck for a long time, they start loosening up, and then you start having a better experience of love, regardless of whether you're in a relationship or not. So I'm going to pop the numbers up now, and then you can go ahead and take a pick. I'll give you a second to do that. Now that you have your number, go ahead and use the description box below, and then you can skip ahead to your specific energy healing. But before you do that, I recommend that you stick around for this introductory grounding meditation, which makes it a lot easier for me to read you and sense your patterns, and it also makes you feel more grounded and stable during the whole thing, since these frequency meditations can be very disorienting. So I strongly recommend that you hang out for this part and then skip ahead, but you're the boss, you make the choice. So let's go ahead and start the grounding meditation now. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold at the top of your breath. And then release through your mouth. Holding again at the bottom of your breath. And then go ahead and inhale. Exhale. Go ahead and keep that rhythm going. And while you do that, I'm going to explain some stuff. Okay, so first we're going to use this technique that a mentor showed me. So what I want you to do is imagine a pillar going down through your body, down into the center of the earth. And then what we're going to do is on our next exhale, we're just going to exhale and release all the things that we don't need. You don't have to consciously know what that is. Just allow the things that are not serving you, the things you don't need anymore, let those drain down into the center of the earth. And then on your next inhale, let's go ahead and copy some of the frequencies of the center of the earth. And then you're going to inhale those up through that column that you saw, that pillar. And you're going to inhale those up into your body. Don't worry if this doesn't make so much sense. Just follow along, go with your gut, and if it feels good, go for it. Don't let your mind stop you from the love that you want. Now let's pay a lot of attention to our bodies. In a lot of other meditations, you drift away into an out-of-body experience. So if you feel different, that's fine, but stay in your body. So let's pay attention to our physical form. Don't drift away, don't bliss out and go away. Stay right here, stay present, stay in your body, stay aware. So let's go ahead and pay attention to our feet. Into our ankles, and then up our legs. Noticing our calves, our shins, our knees, back of the knee, up into our thighs, into our hips, groin area, into our pelvis, into our lower abdomen, up into our abs, our lower torso, noticing our spine, making our way up our spine, noticing our upper torso, and our shoulders, wrapping down into our arms, our shoulders, our triceps, our biceps, our triceps, our biceps, our forearms, our wrists, our fingers, our fingertips, our fingernails. And then bringing our attention up our necks, noticing our throat, noticing the bottom of our chin, up our head, down our skull, noticing our ears, eyes, eye sockets, nose, lips, mouth, even our teeth. And becoming like really centered, resisting that temptation to drift away. Stand right here. And if you do drift away, that's fine. Just bring your attention right back here to your center. Cool. All right, give me a sec. I'm just going to do a little bit more, pulling us into our bodies. Okay, cool. All right, so now you can go ahead and jump to your energy healing using the description box below. Okay, hey group one, let's talk about what's going on for you. You have basically a sacrificing pattern, a settling pattern. So in your relationship, you might not be feeling like the most passion, or the people that you tend to attract, they tend to be ones that are kind of like halfway in, halfway out. And even if you do end up getting into a relationship with them, it's just kind of like lukewarm. It's closer to a friendship. You may have downloaded this pattern through your mother. You may have downloaded it through, the archetypal feminine, like a distorted version of the archetypal feminine. You could see this all the time in like romantic comedy movies where it's not like the main lead character, but it's like the friend of the main lead character. It's like this couple, and then the couple, they like talk some sense into her as she's on her crazy journey, but you see that other couple and they're like, they act like a happy couple, but they're really not. And there's a lot of compromise. There's a lot of settling. This comes from a desire for you to remain loyal and to be nurturing and be caring and that kind of thing. So there's a loyalty thing at play where you may have seen your parents or seen other people around you growing up where they didn't have the best relationships. They didn't have like that fiery, passionate relationship. So you saw their example and you kind of downloaded that pattern into you, or you may have had that kind of person enter your life, the one that really stokes the fire in you, really gets you passionate and excited and that kind of thing. But then if you have that in your life, you feel like you're leaving behind, whoever it was that you saw that was stuck up in the tower. So it's like they're in a relationship, but they're kind of like, it's like they're trapped. It's like they're in like a gilded cage. Not like the other partner is doing anything wrong, but they just feel like forlorn and like, oh, I'll never have like the relationship that I want to have. That's the predicament that they're in. So you feel bad about having that fiery, passionate relationship. So there's loyalty there, and then there's also a loyalty in terms of you wanting to be supportive to your partner. So that's why you kind of depolarize it down into being more of like a friendship than like that fiery relationship where there's a lot of polarity and a lot of excitement. It's a desire for you to remain loyal and to be kind and nurturing and supportive. The reason this pattern came into your life is, let's say that you saw your parents or whoever exhibiting this pattern, and then you absorbed it as yours, and then that became your reality. So here's the reason why the other people may have exhibited this pattern. It's because they had something that they felt like a duty or an obligation to stay together on. This happens a lot of times in families where the parents are getting divorced. They feel like they need to stay together for the benefit of the child. So they're doing this as like this selfless thing where they're like, okay, I'll sacrifice a little bit of that fiery passion because, there's my kid that is depending on me and needs that stable structure. So it's really important in this one that you don't go blaming anybody else for this, because then that discounts all of your power. Because if you blame your parents or you blame society or whoever you blame, once again, you're putting your power outside of yourself, and then you're just subject to that pattern. So you may have absorbed it and you feel like this loyalty towards it, or you would totally rejected it and you said, I am definitely not going to be like that. But then what happened was your life ended up becoming just like that, because as you push away and you try to separate from this, there's this deeper primal desire for you to stay connected to the family in some way. So if you've pushed it off and you've tried so hard not to be like that, but that ends up being the same type of experience for you, that's what's going on. So in this energy healing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you basically break away from that. You'll start attracting more of a fiery relationship. So if you're already in a relationship, which it feels like the majority of the people in this group are, whether it's official or not, for this group, what I'm going to do is help activate that sense of passion, stoke the fire a bit, and bring that up and out of you. So for a certain percent of us, it's a relatively small percent, maybe like 15% of us that are listening to this, what's going to happen is your current relationship is going to shift a bit, where you're going to get more passionate, and then there'll be like more of this healthy tension in the relationship. And that'll be enough to where it activates something in your partner where they're into it, and then it heightens the passion and the relationship stays together. But if you're with the partner that you're not going to be able to have that level of passion that you probably want to have, it's very likely that you could break up after you listen to this. So please think about that and make your decision knowing that. So if you don't want to break up, don't listen to this. I know that sounds like a crazy thing to say through just listening to one of these, but I have been in your shoes before where an energy healer that I was working with said the same thing to me. I didn't believe it. And then 2 days later, we ended up breaking up. And the question in my mind before the meditation was like, okay, how do I take us to the next level? How do I take that next step in the relationship? So that ended very quickly. It ended up being a wonderful thing for me. I'm so grateful for it in hindsight. And my relationship now, it's 100 times better. But I just want you to be aware of that is a risk. So please pay attention to that. Listen to your heart, listen to your intuition, and choose wisely. So If you want to have that pattern shift for you, I'll start working on you now. If you want this pattern, just open up your energy, say yes. If you don't want it or you're still unsure, you can close your energy. You can come back to this later, think about it. And yeah, I'll start working on you. The first thing I'm doing is bringing people into your experience that are going to show you the possibilities. So it's kind of like you get to, even if you listen to this and you're not sure, like you'll start seeing that possibility through other people around you that have that passion. And then you'll either decide to step forward into that, or you'll be like, no, that's a little too much. But it kind of like gives you another way to step into it without going all the way in right away, so that it's a very conscious decision. Just gonna keep on working on you. Another message I'm getting right now is like, just know that for your kids, if you have kids or future children, your well-being is the greatest gift that they can ever have. So don't feel selfish for not settling. One more message I'm getting is like, if the other person or you even, you have like a sudden sickness or illness, that's happening because you have that caring, nurturing pattern. So if that's your pattern, that will flare up as you're letting go of it and you're moving beyond that. If you define yourself as a nurturer, as a supporter, and that's why you are settling into the relationship. As you get ready to leave and you move towards this more passionate, exciting relationship, the other person might suddenly get sick or might get hurt or something, like might have some sort of thing come up, so that you feel like, oh no, I could never leave, especially now. So the other person's not consciously trying to do this. It's just because you have that pattern, you're inviting that out of them. And that's just them trying to hold on to you. And I'm not saying like they're faking the injury. It could be very real. And I'm not a doctor, so I don't claim to be one. What they might be going through might be very real, but I'm explaining why it's coming. It's because you're pulling away and you're breaking that pattern. And if you don't, and if that like hooks you back in again, then you'll just stay in the same place. Okay. Other thing that came up, if you do end up leaving your old relationship, or that ends up not working anymore, it may take a little bit of time for a new one to come around. And that's because you are solidifying it's like you're solidifying your new sense of self. And that has to solidify before you can attract somebody else in. So just be patient. In the healing, I've basically pushed you out of the shadows of your life, out of that supporting character back into the lead. So you're the one that, it's like you'll feel more in control of your life. You don't feel so like at the whim of others. You have to take that. You confirm that by situations, and will come up with people, anything that like pushes your emotional buttons. Like it's going to come up and you're going to see it very clearly, like what's the old way of being, what's the new way. You just choose the new way a couple times, and then it'll lock in, and then you're right on track, and then you'll just become that. Like I can't do that for you. You have to decide. You have to decide that. But I kind of like kickstart it for you, so you start moving in that direction, and then it's up to you to decide how far you want to go with it. All right, group one, you guys are all done. Thank you so much for hanging out. If you enjoyed this, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, maybe sharing. And yeah, let me know how it's going for you. I hope everything goes okay, and that you're feeling absolutely wonderful in not too long. All right, thanks for hanging out. If you enjoyed today's video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Maybe consider sharing it too. And thanks so much for hanging out, and I'll see you next time. Okay, group two, you're up. Let's see what's going on. Okay, first thing I notice is like you have leftover heartbreak. Yeah, it hasn't fully healed. It's hard for you to move on to that next layer of love if that heartbreak is still there. Even if you feel like you've gotten past that, it's like this thing where your heart has to finish breaking before you can heal it and then move on. So like some of us have we've been hurt so bad that we like didn't even let ourselves go there, didn't even like let ourselves feel that pain. So sorry about that. I know what that feels like. It just feels like you're still connected with whoever broke your heart. So it's like you go and you'll be out and around other people, like new people that you could be that could be attracted to, or maybe you're even in a relationship, but like the other people that can't get in, it's like you're emotionally unavailable. They basically, it's like you have this invisible wall around you that people will try to get through. You'll say like, oh no, it's not even there, but they only get in like a certain amount, and like they can feel that thing around you. So as they start getting in, it just makes everything go weird. So it like, yeah, so intimacy might be an issue. Yeah, so it's a protection thing. That's basically all this is. It's almost like you don't want to be unfaithful because on an energetic level, you're still in a relationship with whoever hurt you because there's still that heartbreak connection. Like even though it's a painful connection, there's still that link between the two of you. So in this energy healing, I'll help you let go of that. But before we shift that pattern, let's talk about why that pattern's there and how it served you before you let go of that. Because I'm sure even as I said, like, okay, I'll help you let go of that, you may have been like, your head says yes, but like your body quakes a little bit and you feel resistant because you're like, oh no, like I don't, it's like I watched this horse trainer and saw a similar dynamic going on. So what he was doing was he was trying to teach other people how to be like a horse whisperer like him. So what he did was he noticed one rider, basically what he was doing with his horse was he was just trying to pull on his, like the lead, like the string that was basically connected to the bit around the horse's face. And he would try to pull him and manhandle him and like pull him all around to all these different ways. So now was how he was trying to control the horse. And the horse whisperer is like, yeah, that's not how it works, man. All the horse can do is it's gonna tense up and it's gonna resist you if you yank it like that and you try to force it to move because that's its instinct and it can't help but do that. So what you have to do is you teach the horse as you're letting go. So the way he demonstrated this was he just gave the other end of the rope to the guy and then he's like, okay, don't resist, and then he pulls it. And then as he pulls it, the other guy tenses up. And he's like, I said, don't get tense. Hold the rope. And then he pulls it, and then the guy gets tense again. And then he goes to pull it, and he doesn't actually yank it this time. But he just kind of fakes him out, and then the guy tenses up. And he's like, that's what you're doing with the horse. So that's kind of what's going on energetically in your dynamic with this former love, former crush, former whatever. It's like you're bracing for it again. So it's just like that lingering connection. It's time to let that go. In the same way that the guy with the string or the horse was bracing, I understand how it could be a challenging thing to let go of that because you're just bracing based on all of your past experience. So let's see what is the new pattern that wants to come in around love. So give me a sec. So the metaphor that I get, it's like two birds that are kind of like flying together, flying in sync. That's your new template for love. So the difference is there isn't that like connection where one can pull the other one. And what I'll help you install if you want it is those birds. So the birds, they are in this perfect sync and perfect harmony together. They can feel each other, they can read one another's movements, but they are free and separate and sovereign in and of themselves. So there isn't this like blending in and like hooking energy in their love. So the way that they do it is they get in sync with one another. They fly with the same rhythm and they're paying attention to one another and working off of one another, and it's an exciting experience for them. They're tuned into one another, but they're not hooked in and they're not yanking each other around. This is really about feeling more free in relationship. So the way that you may have gotten into this in the past is, a lot of times we'll see in romantic movies how people are like, oh, like I give you my whole heart, or, I pledge my undying love to you. I pledge all this, like you complete me, any of those kinds of messages, which can seem pretty romantic in a romantic movie, but in reality, it just sets you up for that hooking dynamic. So it's basically like you're saying, like, I'm going to hook into your heart, you hook into mine, and then you stay with a thing like this. Like this happens with like vows and yeah, so just be careful with that kind of thing moving forward. The hooking thing, it appears to be romantic, but it's actually like a codependence thing. It's a attempting to latch onto them for safety instead of owning that freedom that you are. That's what'll help you install, is a type of love that's less about hooking into someone and letting someone hook into you, where the two of you are your own complete selves in and of yourself. But when you're moving with each other, you can still predict one another's movements, and yeah, stuff in the bedroom probably get better too. So you'll enjoy that. So then you can have a love that feels expansive, free. You're still in harmony, you're still in sync, but it doesn't have like that latching on effect. And this one probably came from just like, honestly, just having like a younger perspective towards love. Okay, so truth time, embarrassing story about Zach. When I was a little kid, I remember I had a crush on this girl, and I was in like elementary school. I remember I saw in all these movies that the way to like win the woman's heart was by showing like a ton of commitment and a ton of certainty of like the main character, especially like the white knight character. He would just be like, I choose you and you are all I want, and I know this in my heart, and that's what it is. And like he was kind of like opening up, and he's like saying, hook into me, I'll hook into you. Remember, I went to the dentist, and then the dentist was like, okay, you can have a little toy or something. I don't know, he had like gumballs or something. I don't know, he probably didn't have gumballs. He probably had like, oh, that's what he had, like the sticky hands. I used to love those things. He had like that, or you had the other one, and I saw there were rings in there. So I remember I like got the ring because I was like, ooh, I could give the ring to the girl, and then she's gonna be like totally into me. And so I remember I called her on the phone, and she was with her friend, and I was like, I have a secret for you. I have a surprise for you. I got a gift for you tomorrow at school. With that young mind towards love, I didn't even realize what the hell I was doing, what I was signing myself up for, what that kind of a thing meant in the broader scope. So that's another version of what's going on here. We may have watched all these different stories about love, and we see that hooking thing, and that gets glorified so much, but trust me, the bird way, where you're both free and magnified by one another's presence, it's just so much better. So if you'd like that pattern, I'm going to go ahead and do some energy healing now. If you want it, open up your energy, just kind of say yes. If you don't want it, or you're not sure, close off your energy, say no. You are the boss, you get to decide, and I'll just work on that now. So I'm just going to kind of clear out all the memories that you have, all the conditioning that you have around the hooking thing being the most romantic thing to do. One thing that came up is part of the way that you can get past this pattern is by just having like a really sweet fling with someone, or like a shorter term relationship where it ends, and it doesn't end in a really ugly way. It ends in a gentle way. It ends in like a caring way, but it's very clear, and there isn't like this intermingling, entwining, getting all tangled in one another's business type of thing. It's like, it's sweet, it's beautiful for what it is, and then you both move on. So that's one way that this might work out for you. So you might view that as like, oh, another failed relationship, but it's not. It's really a beautiful thing, and it's really like an enlightening thing for both of you. And if you view it in the right way, it's going to be profoundly healing for you, that will set the foundation for that relationship that you're thinking about in your head. So this won't necessarily happen for everyone, but just if it happens to you, just be aware of that, and like be very conscious as you go through that. Let it be a beautiful catalytic experience, and it's a one way for us to know that it's okay for things to end, is to actually go through that and then have it end and then have it be okay. Helps us trust the process a lot more. So you might have to have a pulling away experience where there's no hooking or no temptation to hook from either person, for this one to really land. That's it for you, group 2. Thanks so much for hanging out. If you feel like somebody else might benefit from doing this pick a healing, please feel free to share. And then in the comments, let me know how it's going for you. I may or may not be able to respond to each person in here, but know that I care about each and every one of you. And I really appreciate you spending time with me. So thanks so much, and I hope you have some very, very beautiful experiences and your heart starts to heal. Okay, group 3, let's see what's going on for you. So it feels really nice in here. Like in your energy, it just feels like calm. It feels like easy. It feels connected. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know why you guys are here, to be honest, because it just feels like your experience of a relationship is so calm, supportive, peaceful, serene, fulfilling, content. I mean, I don't really see a problem here, like something we need to clear necessarily. Maybe, if anything, we can just like help you like feel even more gratitude for what you have and more appreciation for the experience of love that you have in your life, whether you're single or in relationship. So it doesn't necessarily matter whether you're in a relationship in a conventional way that pop culture has defined as being perfect. Like, even if you're single and you date, like, whatever your situation is, it just feels like it's working really, really well for you. And what I'll do here is just help you expand into deeper appreciation and gratitude for what you have. I guess, like, if there's even just like the tiniest bit of wondering, like, what if, or is the grass greener? That doesn't feel like a thing that bothers you most of the time. It feels like you're very happy in your relationship. That might be like a fleeting concern every once in a long while. We'll just remove that and then, yeah, really help you feel just so happy and proud. Just like really owning that love, like, so that you don't have to hide it. You don't feel like you're offending anyone by how good things are going for you. Yeah, you just like own it and just cherish the relationship that you're in, the experience of love that you're in. Let me just see if there's anything else. Okay, wow. So this group, you probably actually just feel like you want more people to feel this. You want more people to feel this kind of love that you have. And you just want other people to know that it's possible. That's really sweet. That's really sweet that you're here. So what I'll do is I'll help intensify and amplify your relationship so that as people come into contact with you, like, you may be thinking that the way that you can teach other people how to feel this way and be this way in love is something that you have to teach through words and concepts and principles and stuff like that. But you setting the example is literally all that it takes, because as soon as people come into your space, they might see you from the outside and go like, I don't know, are they like putting on an act? Is this kind of thing? But when they step in, they just go, whoa, this is the real deal. And it might be shocking to some. They might not be able to understand why, but just the mere experience of them stepping into your world, like, it expands them so much. So you don't have to do anything to share this with other people. You can just exist as this, and they'll pick it up. Their higher selves, their guides and everything, they are on top of this, and they're teaching them how to do that. But what you do through your example and through your own joy and fulfillment, like, that's the best thing that you can ever give to them. Because when they step into you, like, they can see through you and they can see if it's an act or if it's a real thing. But when they're around you, they're going to be like, whoa, this is possible. This is crazy that this is how good it can be. And even if they're not in a good situation in themselves, or they're struggling, just being around you is the healing. That's really cool. I just want to say, like, thank you for everything that you've gone through and everything that you've done in order to be this kind of a person, to like be this kind of light in the world, because you're doing so much healing that you don't even realize. For me, I've gone through this in a career. Like, I was very fortunate to have like a bunch of really, really successful mentors. And I remember just going over and like having fish tacos at one of my mentors' houses. And it's like the most immaculate house, and it was featured in Architectural Digest, and it's like this incredible place. And I remember talking to him because I was going through building a business, and I'm like, it's not working the right way. I just don't know. Am I doing the right things? Like, am I on the right track? And then there I am in his place where it's like, it was like beyond my wildest imagination of how beautiful a home could be. And he's just like, yeah, you're totally right on the right track. And in that moment, I felt that connection to him, and I was like, whoa, okay, I'm doing this right. And here's somebody who has the result that I want. And He's not like trying to teach me things. He's just kind of there, and he's allowing me to step into his world and sample what that's like. So then, even, a decade after I spent that time with him and had fish tacos with him, I still remember what that feels like, and I can still access that feeling anytime. So that's what you're doing for people. So thank you very much on behalf of everybody else. Like, you are helping just as much as I'm helping through this kind of thing. Like, your contribution is huge, and you should really be proud of that. And so yeah, I'm just gonna help you like own that. If you want me to work on that, then I'll go ahead and clear those patterns for you. And so if you'd like that, open up your energy, say yes. If you're not sure, close your energy, just say no. And you can always come back to this later. But I'm gonna go ahead and start working. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Okay, so I think that's going to do it. So if you enjoyed this and feel like somebody else might benefit, please consider sharing. And you can always like, comment, let me know how it's going. Let me know if this felt accurate or inaccurate. I'm always learning. So thank you so much for being here. And yeah, thanks for the contribution of your example. All right, group 4. Hey there. Let's go ahead and take a look. I'm going to scan you to see what relationship and love patterns are running. And yeah, let's see what's going on. Okay, so group 4. There's some confusion here. So there's 2 parts to it. So one is just like a general sense of confusion around what love is. And then in response to that, what you do is you latch on to mom and dad's patterns, because mom and dad's patterns, those became the template from which all of your relationships emerge from. So whatever dynamic the mom and dad had, let's say, for example, they would fight and then they'd make up. So your experience of relationship, even if you don't want to do that, it's going to copy that same pattern. But for like a third or 40% of us, we're aware that we like catch ourselves doing that, and then we break away from that, and then we like get into this, well, I'm really confused, like how does this work? And through the confusion, that leads to a lot of pain that either you cause other people, they cause you. It's just the confusion and love thing, that's not working out so hot. So let's go ahead and let me see if I can get some more information, talk about where that came from. Okay, so quick disclaimer. I am not a psychologist, I'm not a therapist, but I have studied a little bit of childhood development. And one concept that they talk about is how when we're a little kid, we are forming all these rules and associations about how the world works. And what can happen is that's how we can like have conflicting programs that basically make our experience of love very confusing. So say we're 6 months old, and then what happens is mom comes into the room and then she's just holding us and looking at us saying, oh, you're so cute. And then what happens is mom has to go to the other room to like go to the bathroom or something. As a kid, our brain is still forming, and up to a certain period, babies don't even know that like the things that they see in front of them are attached to their body. They're not even aware that their arms belong to them. So as a baby, we're going through this developmental process and we don't exactly understand how all the rules work. So what happens is we can make these associations as children that have a pretty lasting effect, and it creates the rule set through which our relationship template emerges from. With the mom, we can create this program in our head of, wow, I'm amazing. I am the best thing in the world. Nobody would ever leave me. And then when mom leaves, as a kid, we just go, oh my gosh, I must have done something wrong. It's just a matter of time before people leave me. And then we have both of those patterns running. So then we have that kind of confusing experience in our relationships as adults. This is like the tricky part of free will, where we have the free will and authority to create whatever it is that we want as little kids, and then we grow older, and then we have those conflicting patterns that are still running, and then that same kind of dynamic shows up in our dating life or our romantic life or our relationships, and then we're like, what the hell happened? So you might be feeling even more confused, like especially confused, before you came and did this energy healing, because it's ramping up so that you can see it. There is like a collective awakening happening. The consciousness on the planet is shifting, and basically all the hidden stuff is emerging up to the surface. So this is just one of the things for you that's emerging up to the surface. The confusion is becoming heightened, not because it's getting worse, but it's just like revealing to you, this is what you got going on. And it's doing that in an attempt to serve you so that you can make some new choices and you can decide, okay, like what's the pattern I want here? How do I want my experience of relationship to be? So let me clear out some of the confusion so that you can figure this stuff out. The way Source sees it is like you are a creator and you have creational authority. You get to decide how things go and you get to set up the rules. And that includes when you're a child that can't even tell that this hand belongs to your body. So you can make the rules up then, you grow up, that becomes the template, and then that controls your reality unless you decide that you want to start shifting it. So this is kind of like a teaching thing. You can go through it in relationship, but this process, it's going to expand out into all the different facets of your life. This group, it's like almost like you're going through your spiritual awakenings through your experience of relationships, because you're going to see just how much control and authority you have in your life and how all of these relationships work. So I'm going to help you kind of calibrate yourself and become attuned to what's going on in the relationship, where before you may have been blindsided and you could think things are going so well, and then all of a sudden somebody like splits, or you think things are going so well, and then all of a sudden you say something and then the other person is extremely hurt by it, and you're wondering like, whoa, where did this come from? You're going to be able to see this stuff coming now. If you make a mistake in the relationship, you'll be like, oh yeah, okay, I get it. I see what I did there. If things are going well, you're going to be like, oh yeah, that's because I've been doing this. And that experience itself will be very, very empowering for you. And it'll be really, really good. So there may be some learning. So it's okay if you make mistakes. It's okay if you make a choice and then you decide that you want to change it again. But what I'll do for you in this energy healing is help clear up the confusion so that you're seeing straight. And that relationships start making much more sense to you. and you don't feel as like much as you have to just like feel your way through the dark in them. Let me see if I can give you a little, it feels like a concrete example would be really good here. So a good example of this is, and this is a pretty controversial topic, it's like gender roles. Now, I'm not going to argue whether they're a good thing or if they're a bad thing that's like kind of outdated. What I want for you as a result of this is for you to have an experience of it, and then you can react to it, and then you calibrate where you're making the decision rather than you're just kind of thrown into it and bounced around. I'm going to recalibrate you so that you feel like, okay, I understand what's happening here, and then you can either decide, yes, I like this, or I do not like this at all. But it's going to be clear, and you're going to be able to trust the impression that you have. If you're feeling confused right now, that's likely because this is the pattern. It's active right now because this is about relationships. Just go into that deeper space, like feel into your gut and just sit with it and feel like, okay, does this feel right for me or not? And if it does, listen. And if it doesn't, that's fine. You don't need to do this. But just like sink down into that more body awareness, because the body knows. The body can tell. Your innate understands this stuff and will guide you. All right, so I'm going to start working now. Go ahead and take a deep breath with me if you'd like. Just a quick reminder, please don't listen to this while you're driving. It's more than a meditation, and it can be physically or mentally disorienting, and we don't want to have that. And it's normal if you feel like a buzzing or a heat sensation or a tingling or something like that. Just know that that's normal. You don't have to feel it for it to work. But just in case you are, I just want you to understand clearly what's going on. Stay present in your body, don't drift away, don't daydream. Just like notice where you are, notice what your hand feels like, notice where your hand is, notice where your arm is, the position that your legs are in right now. Be really aware of your body. Don't drift away, that's the confusion thing happening. Okay, so that's going to do it. I hope that's helpful. If you liked it, please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you.